Welcome to Work Life by Design. I'm your host, Mel Marsden. As a passionate entrepreneur with a desire to create places where people and business thrive, I hope to inspire you to find your place at work and in life so you can live a life by design. You'll hear stories of transformation, exploring everything from organizational psychology to brand, and identifying opportunities in your workplace and your life to inspire your human potential. So, let's get started. We've talked about personal brand for a number of years now. However, our guest today, Nicole Hatherly, shares with us that as we continue to emerge from the effects of COVID-19, we each have the opportunity to own our signature brand. The opportunity to authentically communicate who we are at our core and the value we bring. Now, I have had the great pleasure of knowing Nick for a number of years and to have been able to personally work with her over the last 3 years, and she has been instrumental in supporting me to truly understand what it is that I do and articulate it in a way that captures attention. Now, Nicole is a leading global brand catalyst, an award-winning international brand and leadership strategist, international keynote speaker and thought leader, profile expert, and passionate creator of your signature brand for the now normal and the powerful brand catalyst process. She's a qualified design thinking methodologist, brand etymologist, executive coach, board level advisor, and founder and director of Brand True North and global life work pivot program, Brand Your Way. She is pretty cool. Now, for over 27 years, because she started very young, Nicole has delivered award-winning strategies and campaigns for iconic brands, global organizations, and influential thought leaders. She now energizes brands, activates thought leaders, and ignites audiences to deliver beyond their products and services by articulating their value, amplifying their voice, and activating their thought leadership for impact and legacy. So strap yourself in for this conversation, grab a pen and paper, because this one is interactive. Hit the link below to grab your own copy of the Signature Value Map so that you can start to unpack yours. In this chat, we cover Nick's own journey of personal and professional branding, how your signature brand is a new concept that connects our head and our heart for our work and our life, Nick's take on the now normal and what we can be doing to embrace our work life. We dive into the Great Australian Resignation and what it means as a corporate professional. And Nick takes us through a mini masterclass to completing our very own signature value map. So grab yours at the link below. She also shares her own journey of designing a work life she loves, the hurdles she's faced, the realizations, and the rituals that she's embedded to ensure she's living her best life. Nick is a gorgeous, generous genius who has the innate ability to cut through the noise and just nail what it is that you do. She is a true master of words. Plus, she's a powerhouse of energy, and this is one conversation that you are going to walk away from with a whole new appreciation for how you put yourself out there. And the most exciting news is that Nick is going to be our very first guest expert in the Work Life Lounge. Now, the Work Life Lounge is a membership space where we bring to you monthly masterclasses from leading thought leaders on all things work and life, so that you can take the action that you need to design your work life on your terms. So often we are told what we need to do and why we need to do it, but we are often left wondering, but how? How do I make the changes that I need to? And that's where the Work Life Lounge comes in, and the opportunity to take the learnings from guests like Nick to the next level and put them into action. Nick will be presenting our very first masterclass in the lounge, and in her masterclass, she'll be diving deep into the signature value map so that you can raise your brand, your profile, and your purpose to thrive in work and life. This is going to be a hands-on session where you will walk away with your completed signature value map and actionable steps to see you owning your value. You will align your vision, articulate your value, and amplify your voice to create your activated signature brand. And for the first 3 months, you get an Access All Areas VIP pass to the lounge, courtesy of Community. Absolutely free. So head over to the link in the show notes and come join us in the lounge. Nick's masterclass is happening on November 11 at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So I look forward to seeing you there. Now, let's get on with the show and let me introduce you to Nicole Hatherly. So today I am joined by the gorgeous Nicole Hatherly. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Work Life by Design podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mel. My Google, it was like the night before Christmas waking up today.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to have you on. Now, Nick, you and I have known each other for a number of years, and I've had the great pleasure of working with you to help sort of unpack what's going on in my brain and articulate what it is that I do, how I do it, and to really help me own my signature story to be able to communicate that in a much more articulate way. Can you just give us a really quick snapshot on what it is that you do and how you helped me and how you've helped so many other people to communicate their value?
What a great question, Mel, and a great place to start. I guess with me, I was 28 years in advertising, marketing, communications across the digital sphere, and pretty much on the cutting edge of all of those things. And that gave me a fantastic bedrock of working through what actually mattered when it came to articulating the value of either a product or a service. When I was back in advertising land, we had to do that really quickly. And even when I was a head of brand or head of marketing, what was it that we wanted to articulate? What did we want to get out there in the marketplace? Because you've got such a finite amount of words and amount of time to get to the heart of it and get it out there. So after 28 years, started young, transferring that, and I say I now use my art for good, really helping people like yourself, as well as working with big brands. Find the words to articulate their value. What is it? What is it at the core? We all know in our heart and in our mind what we want to do, how we do it differently, and our passion and kind of comes out. But what I do is I harness it for you, and we really harness it and get it laser focused. What you want to say, who you want to say it to, and how that's going to make an impact. But it's all around words. I'm so bad at creative genius when it comes to designing anything, or can't draw a stick figure. What I can do is put words together. And I love the etymology of words, going back and making every word count and find the meaning in every word so that that word, like a Trojan horse, is packed with feeling.
And it makes such a difference, because the things that I know from working with you is that I know what I do and I know how I do it, but I probably need a lot more words to articulate it until you can sort of synthesize it down and really help me communicate that in such a short, sharp way that cuts through so quickly. And that makes such a big difference when you're communicating with people, because it gives them the opportunity to understand really quickly what it is that you do and how it is that you can help them.
And it's usually a lot less words we need to do that. A lot of the time when we're on a mission to educate people or give people an understanding of a new concept, we tend to use a lot of words and a lot of ways. We're really, every time we do that, we need to put it on a word diet and just make those words meaningful and use less to say more.
Yes, absolutely. And that's my small problem that I have, but I'm getting better at it. Now, you describe yourself as a brand catalyst. What is that?
Traditionally, I'm a brand strategist, and I'm a global brand strategist. And that makes a difference because brand looks and feels differently in Australia as the US and Canada. I do a lot of work there, and the UK and Europe. And it's made it a lot easier in the pandemic because I don't have to fly there. But being a global brand strategist, there's a few of us. There's probably tens of thousands, but there's something that I do that's very different to every other brand strategist. And that is, I don't just work with what it is that you do or a brand does. I work with that beautiful uniqueness of how you do it. And so I get the how you do it, and create that, what I call brand catalyst, that thing that is like a chemical reaction that sets off that explosion and takes you to that next level that is uniquely yours, that really breaks open your brand, your business, concepts. It's that brand catalyst we're looking for. And I've realized over many years to set myself apart from being a brand strategist, which I am, is that extra little bit. It's that being that brand catalyst. And we have brand catalyst sessions with our clients. And we specifically look at what is that brand catalyst moment. What's that thing? Could be a methodology, could be an alignment with purpose. It could be something in your education, your exposure, your expertise, your engagement. All of those E's, we find something that sets you apart. So I love being a global brand catalyst. It's really a talking point. People love to know what it is. But it's that aha moment where people go, oh, far out. I wonder what mine is. So calling myself that is less about me and more about people going, wow, I think I need you because I think I need to know what my brand catalyst is. And I know, Mel, that we often find a few of yours, and we did so just recently. And you know the difference between having a brand strategist on your team and having a brand catalyst on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when we started working together a few years ago, that's when it really dawned on me that I was here to help people design a work life that they loved. It wasn't purely about a workplace. And that's what set off a whole string of events for me. And it's kind of brought me to this podcast and the programs that I'm running now. So it was that little trigger moment that kind of sparked and that explosion. And, you know, the dominoes are still falling.
Totally. And with that, it was transitioning you from being one in a million. There's probably 1 in a million people that create workspaces that work. But there wasn't many people who were creating the physical space, designing the physical space, so that each person could actually elevate their work life, that whole experience. And also brands got to bring their brand to life in their workspace, which most of their employees were spending most of their time in. And you and I came to that point of, for a brand, it leads to high performance. But for a person, it leads to personal performance, the thing that makes a difference in their life. And that's what I do. I get everyone, and everyone listening at the moment, just take a moment to think, are you 1 in 10 around what you do? Are you 1 in 1,000? Are you 1 in 10,000? Are you 1 in a million? I think as a brand strategist, I'm probably 1 in a million, but what's that one thing that I'm known for, rather than being one of a million? And that's what we got to with you. And I think we did a fantastic job with your brand catalyst.
I loved it. It was brilliant. And, you know, we talked about earlier about signature brand, and that was a part of that. What is this? Because it's a totally new concept, and it makes complete sense for us to be really connecting our head and our heart, our work and our life. Because, you know, previously, and I talk about this quite a lot, we always had this separation. Work was over here and life was over there, and never the two shall meet. And the person you are at work is not the same person you are in life. But that's not how we work. That's not real. And, you know, if we've learned anything from being through COVID, it's about authenticity and the fact that we now can be our true and our real selves. What is this signature brand, and how does that come to life?
Yeah, signature brand, when we think about signature brand, what it used to be and what it is now, people would know what a signature brand is. So a signature brand is the brand that maybe a house of brand or a group of brands have that singularly stands out. So if you think about Coca-Cola, that's the master brand. And with Coca-Cola, their main brand or their signature brand is a can of Coke. They've also got Fanta, they've got Sprite, they've got Mount Franklin, but their signature brand for Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola. And so you think about a signature brand being that one that stands out, that you're known for. With signature brand, it came to me that everyone has their signature brand. And this is the evolution, Mel, of personal brand. The single most asked question that I've been given, I guess, in the last 18 months is, what does this mean? The pandemic, the great resignation we'll talk about a little later. What does this all mean for my personal brand? And I've been deep in research around personal brand for a number of years. I'm an intergenerational leadership strategist. Yep, we do exist. And so I work with organisations to be able to have this transfer of wisdom between the 5 generations in the workforce. Why that's significant to Signature Brand is that millennials will make up 75% of our global workforce in 2025. Not one millennial has a personal brand. They don't understand what a personal brand is. They're just a brand unto themselves. They are their brand, their signature brand.
And the reason that is that because they don't distinguish between work and life now like we used to?
Correct. And also because they've grown up with influencers, they've grown up with themselves being a brand, what they stand for. They're very cognizant of what they stand for and what they won't walk past. It might seem that they're entitled to us. That's not so. Generally, our millennials do know what drives them. They're more in touch with that purposeful life, with heroing experiences over things. All of these things that literally take us back to the future, and they're taking us forward to that existence that we're all going to thrive in. But what personal brand is now, it doesn't exist. It's actually smashed in with our professional brand, especially with COVID. And it's the alchemy now of this professional brand and personal brand. You know it yourself. We have been invited into everyone's lounge room. I have seen so many things on Zoom I can't unsee. And from everyone in the last lockdown, you know, we're seeing everyone's grey roots with their cat walking across the screen with their kids in the background. This is now life. And so we don't have a professional brand anymore. It has absolutely collided with our personal brand. And then with what's important for me is the profile. Our profile is really our CV, what's on our LinkedIn. That now has to be dynamic. It has to live and breathe. And most important, all 3 of those P's have to be infused by our purpose now. So our signature brand is this beautiful alchemy, this melting pot of our personal brand, professional brand, our profile, our CV, infused with our purpose. That is your signature brand. It's now what you own. Your professional brand isn't owned by your organization or your business if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. You have taken back that privilege, and everyone now owns their signature brand. It's just that not everyone knows it yet, and not everyone has taken the opportunity to take and harness their signature brand. It's super exciting. It's something that I believe in the next 2 years everyone will be experiencing. We just haven't got a word for it yet, but now we do.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that you say that purpose is going to be such a key foundation in that, because I couldn't agree more. And that's why I work with organisations and with individuals to really help them understand and communicate their purpose. Because when you understand your individual purpose and then you can articulate and connect with the organisational purpose, you've got such a better alignment. And in the last episode I did with Andrea Clark, we talk about shared purpose and how that then leads to discretionary effort. And this is where all of these things start to really tie together, and they become so impactful both for us as individuals, but also for our organisations.
Yes, and what I loved about your and Andrea's conversation, which I've listened to twice, first to take it all in, second to write down a whole lot of things. Oh my goodness, Andrea, as you and I know, just drops those gold nuggets. And I do agree with her. A lot of our work crosses over. And as you know, Andrea and I have been connected for quite some time with this shared vision of what it could look like. And I agree with her. And what she was talking about was a significant study around the difference it makes when we're aligned with an origin story of our place of work or even our own origin story. And what you say about us being connected with purpose, I believe that changes us, yes, but it also changes and infuses everyone else that we try and get on board with our organisation and our business, because when we're connected with our purpose, deeply connected, that is the essence of our know, like and trust economy. It means that you're going to be connected with me, because at the end of the day, Mel, people trust people. People want to buy from people. People want to work with people. And people deeply, deeply want to know the story that we have in behind why we do what we do. And sharing that story we're 22 times more likely to remember any fact when it's wrapped in a story. So telling those stories, being in touch with our purpose, is the new sales methodology. Our clients, our customers are so super savvy, thank goodness these days. We can't sell to them anymore. No one can sell to anyone really anymore. We need to have that identity and identify with that purpose that creates an influence, which is very, very mutually beneficial. Then it makes an impact for us and them. So that identity, influence, and impact is the new sales playbook as I see it.
That old sales method just doesn't work, but having the story to be able to communicate facts, experiences, all of that makes a massive impact, whether it's with the employee or whether it's with, a prospective client. And we've been talking about this in terms of that shift, and we talk about it as the new normal and the next normal. And we've all been through lockdown, and, Queensland not so much, as, you guys have been through extraordinary amounts, and our poor fellow Victorians as well. I don't believe we're ever going to go back. We're not going back. There is no going back. There is a new normal. But you talk about it in terms of the now normal. Can you just explain what you mean by this concept, and how is it going to help us to really embrace our work-life design?
Can't agree more. We're never going to go back to normal. And why would we want to? Apart from the devastating effects that COVID has had on the lives of the people we know and love, first and foremost, and most importantly, it also has changed the way we do everything. The global disruption brought on by us all being sideswiped on an idle Tuesday afternoon with COVID-19 has challenged the foundations of the current way of our whole life to the extent none of us have seen since the end of Second World War. So we were not disrupted. We didn't know how to disrupt ourselves. We were just going along unaware and largely asleep, not awake to this. And so we'll never go back, and nor should we want to. Our world now experiences change at a historically, should I say, unprecedented rate. But this has become our way of life. And what we don't realise, each one of us, is that every one of us and everyone around us now has a built-in, incredible new capability to handle continuous change. And you think of yours, this isn't a roadmap out of what we're doing. We've now got a GPS plugged internally. And that's incredible. And so we talk about the new normal. It's not so new now. We talk about the next normal, but that means that there's something always ahead of this continuous change. I don't believe that. I believe that we're in a now normal. That now normal is not going to be stagnant, and that's a good thing. We have got our GPSs, everyone, inbuilt. I mean, we've done hundreds of collective days this year in lockdown. We have survived something that no living people in history have done. But that's given us that GPS. So with the now normal, we can make major experiential and impactful decisions on a daily basis. It means that we are better in touch with our innate decision making. We're making decisions based on our experience in the moment. We're backing ourselves like a boss. And we're making that for our livelihoods, for our families, for our businesses. And, it's a pivotal time, to use that word as well, in having this now normal. So if everyone can think about shifting our vernacular from the new normal and next normal, we will feel normal. It hasn't happened to us, and locus of control for me I'm very passionate about locus of control. No matter what happens externally to us, we are in control of how we react to that. And that's our now normal. It's our inbuilt GPS that gives us our locus of control no matter what happens externally. A new normal and a next normal puts it out there and renders us still bound by what's going to happen to us. So it's bloody empowering, to say the least. But think about what everyone here, think about what your now normal is, because it's not going to change in the future. It's changing now as it comes towards us. But trust yourself, back yourself. You've got this GPS. You know how to make these decisions. And actually, we can start relaxing and enjoying it to a degree, notwithstanding the health issues that we face and will continue to face.
And I think that's a really great perspective that you put on it there, because we're always waiting. There's always something else coming. But when we're talking about it as the now normal, we have been given an incredible toolkit through the last 18 months, 2 years to be able to navigate change. We're used to experimentation now. We're used to being adaptable. We know that things can flip on a dime and, tomorrow we might all get put back into lockdown again because we've had a case spike. We've become very accommodating to a point of these changes and these things that are beyond our control. And we've learnt to roll with it because we now have these tools, we have the technologies, we have the ability. This was the greatest experiment for me from a workplace design perspective, because it used to take us 18 months to 2 years to transition organisations to working from home and being mobile and agile and adaptable. And heaven forbid, we packed up and we did it overnight. We proved that people can work from home. We proved that we can be change adaptable and we are resilient. We just need to be put into a situation to do that. And this was an unfortunate situation to test that theory, but we've now proven to ourselves that we're capable of it.
And never before has the globe at the same time been put in that same peril. Never before have we been challenged together on a global citizen landscape to do something, to be something, and to be jolted awake as to our individual abilities. And what do we bring to this? What are our decisions that we're going to help propel not only us forward, but how have we bounded together as a community? And then a society, and then a global society. Never before have we had that knock on. I'm really excited about the pivots that the pandemic has given that is outside of the health factor. If you think about the pandemic we were in before, we were largely crippled by decision. We let other things and factors. And in our workplace, this happened to me as well in my workplace. Things that I felt might have been a luxury, like flexible working, in this now normal, it's a given. I didn't question those things, but now I can question them. But we're questioning this collectively. What if only one country went through this? What if there was a progressed country and everyone else was scratching their head going, what the hell happened over there? It is phenomenal when we sit and think about our place in it. As you said, it's been one whole kind of 18 months of minimal viable product. As a design thinking methodologist, and MVP is everything I do in my life. And now it's really come into my life, but everyone's around mine as well. What's the minimal viable product that we can put out in the world that doesn't have to be polished, doesn't have to be perfect? It just has to be productive and work.
Never before have we collectively experienced such change on a global scale. The pandemic, whilst on one hand has challenged us in ways that previously we could have only imagined, on the other, it has opened the doors to incredible opportunity. The opportunity to redesign our work lives in a way that works for us. An opportunity to disrupt, reset, and recreate our new normal. And to help you on this journey, I am so excited to bring to you the Work-Life Lounge. This is your VIP pass to accessing some of the greatest thought leaders in our world of work. So often we are told what we need to do and why we need to do it, but we are often left wondering, but how? How do I make the changes that I need to? And that's where the Work-Life Lounge is here to support you, to guide you step by step through the how, to take back control and design your work life on your own terms. And for the next 3 months, you can have an Access All Areas VIP pass to the lounge, thank you to the sponsorship of Community. Committed to their purpose of fostering the creation of communities where people feel connected, Community is on a mission to ensure that we all emerge stronger together, that we consciously create our work lives on purpose as we head into 2022. Now, there are only 100 seats available under this incredible sponsorship, so to claim your seat in the lounge, head over to melissamarsden.com.au/work-life lounge for more details and to register to join us for our very first masterclass on November 11 at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, Sydney time. I can't wait to see you in the lounge. Now, let's get back to the episode. There are still organisations that are challenging the now normal and what that means for their organisations. And we're now hearing a lot about the Great Australian Resignation. And I'm keen to know what you think about this. What do you see the impact of this for you and for me and, for our whole corporate professional workforce? And how do we prepare for this? And how can we be on the front foot, both as individuals, but also as corporates, to engage our people and to keep them within our organisations?
And to keep them well within our organisations. That's the key. As you know, I'm a research and data buff. I've been diving into the research around the Great Resignation. It is a worldwide phenomenon. It's just recently come to Australia and come to light with the ABC first really reporting the gritty pieces of this, I think just only in September. But in my research and what I'm working with organisations, I work with blue chip organisations and global organisations of how they actually prepare their leaders through leading in the uncertainty of the Great Australian Resignation. And what I know is that 2 in 5 workers are ready to quit their jobs now. And so as the Great Resignation rolls into Australia, 2 in 5 workers know that they will quit. And that's on the horizon in the next few months. And a survey of 25 countries, Mel, found Australian workers to be the most burnt out in the world. And that's with 1 in every 2 employees having had to take mental health leave. Now, that's not official mental health leave. That could be just a doona day. That can just be, I can't do this today. I'm just going to switch my Zoom off and multitask as people think I'm there. 1 in 2 Australian employees have taken a mental health leave, whether official or not, in the last 18 months. Now, with you and I being advocates of wellness in the workplace, that breaks my heart, but it fortifies my spirit that the Great Australian Resignation is a good thing. What it means is that employees now, team members now, leaders now know that what was once something that was a luxury is now a given. Work is on their terms. It's not driven by the employer at the moment. They're going to be turned on their head, and the flexible work has got to come from them now. So the Great Resignation means that we're going to tip a lot of incredibly valuable, knowledgeable, and educated workers or professionals into the gig economy, and all the more. That gig economy will then be sending consultants back into the workforce. So they're just going to repurpose the workforce and having to bolster that with what we call the project-based workforce of the future. So no longer are we going to have 2 or 3 jobs, which our parents had. We probably in our life have around 12 different roles or jobs. In the future, not too far future, we're going to have 30 to 50 projects that we would have worked on in our life. Millennials are already in that mindset. And those particularly are needing to be sought by consultants. So basically, we're tipping our fabulous employees out because we're not being flexible in our workplaces, and they're just going to have work on their own design, not by their employees' default. And they're going to come around and be significant consultants from the gig economy to bolster up basically our organisations. So it's interesting how we're going to make it out on our terms. It's so exciting for the gig economy, so exciting for someone like me, where I'm just in that area of being able to help people to align their vision of what they want their life work to be. And I use the flip of yours. I work with work life to make I work with life's work. So to make it your life's work and also to make life work for you. And you've got the work life by design. And so I'm really keen to be able to empower so many people to do this on their own, align their vision, articulate their value, and amplify their voice in the gig economy based on their education, their experience, their expertise, their exposure, and their engagement in the area of expertise. But I'm also keen to share, let's not fall back into this CV mentality of showing our value by putting a whole long laundry list of everything that we've done before and a shopping list of everything that we possibly could do in the future. Let's refine it to the things we want to do more of, that add up to life's work and to add up to life on our terms and work on our terms. And so that's where our profile will look different. It won't be a CV. That's where our personal brand melds with our professional brand, but it has to be infused with our purpose. And we have to see our own origin story, our own humanness sitting in there as well, so people buy into us. It's such an exciting time.
It really is. And I think what I find particularly exciting about it is the fact that it is going to give people that flexibility. If we're not getting it from our organisations, we are going to go and find it in different ways. And in the work that I do with many organisations, part of the process is engaging with the teams to reimagine what work is going to look like in the future. Because when we're starting to create a new workplace environment, we kind of want a crystal ball a little bit and we kind of want to look beyond that. And what I'm finding really interesting is that these organisations are still not seeing that they're going to have a contract or flexible workforce in that way. They're not seeing themselves engaging in a gig economy. They are still seeing themselves as having permanent employees. Now, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how organisations actually have to shift their mindsets around how they engage people and who they have on their teams and moving into that project. Now, at Community, we do this already. So some of my team is already in that project base and we are engaging with those freelance people on a project by project basis because it gives us scale and capacity. It enables us to bring the right skills in for the right projects to deliver the right outcome when we need them without needing to keep that resource on our books the whole entire time and keeping them engaged and, paying their salary. So this is a really great flexibility model for particularly, I think, smaller, more specialized and niched organizations. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the big guys get on board.
And it is focusing. We spoke before about not just focusing on what we do, but focusing on how we do it. So the question that I lead the organizations that I'm working with through is when it comes to strategy, when it comes to strategically aligning our workforce to the job at hand, don't engage our workforce just in what do we need to do to get this job done. The more beautiful question is how do we need to do this piece of work to get the work done? How would you like to do it? We know that we build the workforce around their core capabilities. We don't have to ask what they're going to be doing to get this job done. That question is, how will you be doing it differently to get it done? To get it done in the way that is a win-win-win situation for everyone and that keeps everyone energized. You know me. These jobs can be energy drainers. And what I see now is the opportunity when organizations embrace it is to energize their workforce in questioning, how could we? How might we? And how do you want to? And that's what's going to retain their workforce.
Yeah, really shifting that conversation. And as you said, it's about understanding the value that each individual has and the way that they can bring that to the organization. And that brings us to your fantastic tool that you've created, which is your signature value map. And you mentioned the word energize there. And I know that from my interactions with you, you do always leave with a burst of energy and you've got on a high and it makes a massive difference. So through this process, you've kind of identified that you're an interactive energizer. Please explain the signature value map and how do we all get to understanding what our unique value is and what we contribute.
Perfect. And this comes back to your point just before when you're saying people in the workforce, so us as employees, we need to know what our signature value is, what it is we're bringing to the table for the organisation, and we need to tell them how we want to do it. But I find that a lot of people struggle with, I'm just told what my value is through my JD. I'm told what they want, and I almost chameleon morph this shopping list of things I can do into what they need and want. That shifts a bit. So I've been working with something I've created, which is the signature value map, which everyone can download. It's like everyone gets a whale. Everyone gets this. It's the core of my business, actually. It's my IP. And it was not even a big decision to know that I wanted to give this to everyone, have this in the hands of everyone so that they can make their life work for them. So in the show notes, I'm sure you'll have it. You can pause if you're not out there walking or doing something active, pause and download your value map. You can do it as we go along. But literally the value map is based on 4 elements that create your signature value. And what your signature value is the core of your signature brand. What's that one thing? Now, question without notice for you, Mel. It starts with the inquiry or the question, and I start every client with this, is tell me, what business are you really in? And when I ask people that, they're like, oh, well, I'm in the business of consulting, or I'm in the business of hairdressing, or I'm in the business. I could say I'm in the business of brand strategy, but I'm not. We have to go down the layers. That's the mode that I deliver my genius in. But I took a number of years to go through this, and why I built the signature value map. I went down in a layer and I actually deliver connection and storytelling. I connect people with themselves, their ideas, their concepts, and I storytell. That's what I do best. And I help people tell their story. But going down one onion layer, I'm in the business of identity. I'm in the business of brand, signature brand, making your mark. I change someone's understanding of their own identity, and it changes and revolutionizes what they identify with and what their reputation is. And then they can explain or articulate that value. So I'm literally in the business of identity. Everything I do comes off that. So question without notice, Mel, what business are you really in?
Well, I suppose if I started with this, I'd say, well, we're in the business of designing workplaces. Like that's, as you said, the thing that you kind of do. And I think if you take that down a step further, it would be around designing in confidence. So helping organisations feel confident with the decisions that they're making and the actions that they're taking. And that would actually be true as well within the programs that I run and the way that I work with the people in those programs, because I'm helping them feel confident in their life decisions and choices and how they can then move forward. And I suppose if you go that next step from there, it would really be it's helping organisations and individuals lay a solid foundation. So really understand what are the most important things around purpose and value and brand experience so that they can show up as themselves and make confident decisions individually, but also then to be able to make confident decisions in how they move forward as a workplace as well.
Absolutely. Working with you for many years, I know that you're in the business. You are in the business of designing confidence. The delivery methods of that is through foundational work, and also through a physical place and a psychological space to build those foundations of confidence. There you go, a brand catalyst right there. So everyone gets to understand. Now, my core value or my signature value is the thing that everyone gets when they work with me, when they play with me, when I'm around, and that is energize. So if I could boil my whole signature value or my whole brand down, it's in one word, and it's energize. The way I get to that, and everyone gets an understanding of this, is just if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, draw a quadrant. Super simple. Draw a circle in the middle of that quadrant, and now you've got 4 areas and a circle in the middle. In the top left-hand area, just right or think about or reflect on what is your mastery. So what are your skills, your talents? What's your mastery? My talent, skills, and mastery is in brand strategy. But there'll be a lot of things that I would note down. All my skills, articulating value, seeing value in everyone else, words, etymology, design, thinking. You just brainstorm everything that you're skilled, talented, and a master of, or a mastery. The next one along, think about what your passions are, because it's important to do what we want to do. Mine is storytelling, as you can tell. My passions are very much in nature. I trek a long way for no real reason. Get underneath that. So you just think about, you create spaces of comfort. You want everyone to be able to belong in a space. So there's different things. People love cooking. They love hospitality. Put all those personalized things in there because they do join your dots. The fourth one down the bottom right-hand side is, let's just put down what you identify with. And that is, what do you identify as? So I identify as a professional, a business owner, an entrepreneur. I also, I'm a brand expert, I'm a profile expert, everything that you identify or what your reputation is. I have a reputation of being able to solve complex brand problems, brand catalysts. So you just really write down everything that you're known for. Then take a look, a critical look, an honest look, and think, is that what I want to be known for the next 1 to 3 years? Or would I like to change my reputation? To change your reputation, you deeply need to change what you identify as. So I had an incredible woman who I work with, and she said to me, I've got this, and she was quite high up. She was in executive management. She said, I'm the go-to, and her name actually is Karen. She said, I'm the help me Karen. And so I'm really good at helping people and jumping in, but I'm known as a Jill of all trades, and I want to be known as this one thing. How do I change my reputation? And it is fundamentally, you need to change how you identify yourself. It's building those boundaries around that, and also then changing your behavior to change your reputation. And that's actually fairly easy to do. But it's interesting when we inquire to ourselves, we don't have to be stuck with what our reputation is. We can change it. But we can't tell a story and identify with something else. So we can't put a story out there that we want people to believe if we don't identify it or have a deep belief in it. And then finally, the biggest one, the easiest one of all, what does the world need from you right now? What is your purpose? And so if you think about what the world needs from you right now, it's not as hard as you think. I know what the world needs from me right now is to help individuals. I now brand humans in a humane way. I use all of my brand brilliance now to brand humans, because I know that I can work with professionals, so probably successful professionals who are invisible. I can actually transform them into visible experts or valuable employees or really viable entrepreneurs. And I can do that through this method. So I know what the world needs from me right now. The world probably doesn't need another brand strategist, but the world needs a personal brand catalyst, which is where I focus. And it's not hard to think about what that is. Once you've got all of those around your map, in your signature map, you can refine it and you'll connect your own dots. And in the middle, what's the one thing that is prevalent or brings to life all of your quadrants? And I know that in my mastery, in my passion, my purpose, and my identity, all of that, if I bring it together, what I deliver is energy, or I energize people back in their businesses, their brands, and themselves. And it's easy to map your signature value, and that sits at the core of your signature brand.
I think that's really important what you just shared there, because what we're now doing is we're articulating what lights us up, connecting into that purpose, demonstrating our value, and then finding ways that we can then contribute that value back into the work that we're doing. So it's really about how can you then design that work life that you love based on these things that you really do love.
And I'm always asked, so what's mine? Mine is actually sitting in there. I've created mine and shared it with the world. So you'll actually see my signature value map, and you'll get inspiration from that.
Yeah, it's always good to have that guidance to see, well, how did Nick translate it to actually understand, how do I complete this thing? So that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
And just to let everyone know out there, I found it bloody hard. It's hard to tickle ourselves because you've got your own blind spots. So it will be challenging, but geez, it's fulfilling.
Yeah, so persist. If you need some support with finding your purpose to get started, there is a download that you can grab from my website as well, which is /North Star. And you can do the purpose and values piece in that as well, which will help you get that piece so that you can then go and complete a bit more of Nick's there as well. So Nick, this whole season is around designing a work life that you love. And I think we have more than delivered on that theme in this particular podcast today. But I want to know a little bit more about how you have personally designed a work life that you love, because I know you have had a very expansive corporate career. You transitioned out of that. You've made significant impact in that world and now in your business, being an entrepreneur now. But how have you gone about that? What were the significant transitions for you, and how are you managing that work life so that you love it every day and it makes you want to leap out of bed?
Oh, can I tell you first, I didn't. There was more days there, Mel, in the beginning that I was sliding down the wall, crying so much I think I was drinking my own snot.
I love that.
As I say.
Welcome to self-employment.
What have I done? Oh, it's a great question. I'll answer the second question first, is how did I transition? Because it doesn't matter whether it's from, I was in executive management roles for most of my career. They were high-powered roles in big organisations that wanted a lot from me. And I ran some extraordinary teams. I was in charge of them, and I took that really seriously. But then I came out on my own and thought, I'm going to nail this. I only have to look after myself. I crashed and burned. I found burnout within about 10 to 12 months. It didn't take long. And the reason why is that it truly took me around 2 years to transition. Don't do it my way. And I realized at the 2-year mark, looking back, why that was. And this is a significant piece, Mel, and I don't talk about this often, but you get me to talk about everything.
Get in there.
It was this one piece, and I think it will resonate with everyone listening at some point of a transition. I didn't know how to exist without a disciplined mindset. So I could not turn from discipline to autonomy. So I find this with a lot of my clients. They'll come out of corporate, or they'll come out of a small business on their own, or any transition. They'll say, I've got to get up in the morning. I've got to get dressed, then go to the train station just to get a coffee, come back and start my work. They're looking for discipline. They're looking for that rhythm. SAS troops talk about this all the time. The biggest project that they need to survive is not a tour in Afghanistan. It's not the incredible things that our SAS personnel deal with. It's actually being a civilian. Because this whole idea of being autonomous, having choice, and we want to stay in that discipline. And the etymology of the word discipline is disciple, is to follow. So as long as we've got something to follow, a 9-to-5 job, we have to do this cadence, we have to do this rhythm, check-ins, performance reviews. We've got that discipline, someone telling us what to do. We've got a JD. Or in a business. Now, when we get to autonomy, we get to choose how to work. 9-to-5 doesn't make sense to us, but we don't know what else to do. It took me 2 years to really relax into the fact that I could choose. I could choose every single person I worked with. My team, the Brand True North team, is all across the world. It's a formidable team now, and fantastic. But I didn't know how to choose the people I wanted to work with on this side. And at every point, the power that we get is to now choose how we want to show up, even in that discipline. But understand, I guess, how I build my day now. Your first question, how I thrive, is I've opened up that power of choice. And I've been working with my incredible intuitive coach and my inside out coach, Kelly Carthy, who you know. And Kelly is massive on this, and look Kelly up, because she was pivotal in helping me transition. And so coming from that place of choice, I choose, sometimes I have a bath at midday.
Oh, how indulgent.
Yeah, I've hit a wall already. I know, I'm just going to go and have a bath, light some candles, because I can.
Yes.
Who thinks of that when you're in a corporate job? And so I practice making these just utterly crazy decisions, and now they're a norm. We're just about to do a 4-day week. We do things differently. I choose to do everything from go shopping, go to the nail salon when you can. I do all the things that I want to do at the prime time when no one else is doing it, because I get to choose. But it's a practice. It's really hard. So that's how I set up I've got my wellbeing practice, and that's set up around bucking the system, being the salmon, swimming against the stream. But just be mindful, everyone listening, of where do you have discipline and where could you actually adopt autonomy, especially in the now normal and the great resignation. And I don't mean just from a point of view of being an employee. People are resigning from their own businesses. They're resigning their position or their job and reinventing what that could look like now.
Oh, I think that is such sage advice for everybody. And I actually think you're a pretty quick learner, because I think it took me more than 2 years to figure that out. So I've just recreated the system. That was the system. So I rebuilt a business, and I had, 12 staff, and I did this. And it took me a lot longer to realize that this is my choice. This is my business. I can do whatever the bloody hell I like. And even as the owner of my own business, I'm still reinventing my role. So I think you're a far quicker learner than I am.
I think I've changed. This is the bane of my team's existence. We do our beautiful logos, and we've got our name logos with our tagline. And I'm like, almost every Monday, right, team, I've got a new tag. I've got a new way of doing things, and the team is used to it. I'm a quick start innovator in the Colby Index, and so I wake up in the morning and want to change everything. But in all seriousness, everybody knows when they're stuck in the matrix. We just don't know how to get unstuck, and that's okay. Knowing we're stuck in a matrix and that there is a choice is 80% of the task.
Yeah, and that is so true. It's that you're stuck, but you don't always know the steps that you need to take to get yourself unstuck.
Yeah, you won't know. I have got an incredible team of people around me. I've always had a coach. I've probably had one or two at the time. I'm in masterminds. We share a brilliant mastermind together, and I'm not afraid for asking for help, because I have blind spots and I definitely can't tickle myself.
No, none of us can. Look, Nick, this has been a fantastic experience to be able to share this episode with you today. And thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom and so much value, so that our listeners can go away and start to help themselves identify their own signature value, to articulate their value differently, to be able to reconnect with that organizational purpose, and hopefully even have some influence over the way that the organizations are running. I think that would make such a massive difference to so many people individually at the moment, because we are in that significant flux of change still. It's not over, and it's not going to be over for any sort of foreseeable future. So having all these skills in our toolkit are going to be imperative to us kind of navigating this as we go into the now normal.
Yes, and just be energized in it as much as what's happening to us. Be energized in how we respond to that. Stay in our now normal. Know that you hold the cards, and just try and find that autonomy in the discipline now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Nick. Now, I'm going to have all of your links in the show notes, so people can follow you on LinkedIn, they can find you on Instagram, they can download the signature value map. All of that's going to be there. Is there any other way that you would like people to connect with you or find with you?
I think it'll be in the show notes. Brand Your Way, how we can help you to brand your way in the programs there is probably the easiest thing, but no, follow me, because as you know, Melissa, if I create something, I put it out in the world. Nothing is behind any wall. And so the incredible tools and frameworks and models, if it's helped me, I know that it can help everyone out there. And so we share that brilliantly. So follow me and grab those.
Yes, and I can attest to that. Nick is extremely generous with all of her IP and her thoughts, so definitely jump in and follow that. So thank you so much for joining me today, Nick. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Mel, and can't wait to see the magic you're creating in the next few months as well.
Exciting things to come. Thank you for joining me for Work Life by Design. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love you to rate, review, or subscribe, or all three, in iTunes and share it with your friends so we can continue to build this community. I would love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, you can connect with me on Instagram @Melmar or send me an email at melissa@melissamarsden.com.au. I hope this episode has given you a few sparks of inspiration so you can design a work life you love.